Answer the alarm.
Who desires admission?
The usher with a new candidate.
What is his name?
What is his name?
John Willis.
John
Wills.
Willis.
No. Wills, W-I-L-L-S. Simple.
Wills.
John Wills.
There we go.
What does he desire?
Membership in our order.
Membership in our order.
Has he fulfilled all requirements for membership?
He has.
He has.
Who vouches for him?
I, Brother Shaw,
do vouch for John Wills.
Do you, as members of Alpha Gamma Rho, still desire to take into brotherhood the candidate who applies for admission?
We
do.
Let him enter.
Enter with your charge.
Mr. Wills, before it's possible for us to continue with this initiation, you must take a solemn oath of binding yourself to secrecy. You will kneel. You will place your right hand over your breast and your left hand in the air, and repeat after me.
Repeat after me, giving your name in full. I state your name.
I, John Wills,
Upon my solemn word of honor,
upon my solemn word of honor,
do hereby swear
do hereby swear
never to reveal or to make public
never to reveal or make public
any part or parts of this initiation service,
any part or parts of this initiation service,
or any secrets which may be known to me,
Repeat that, please.
or any secrets which may be known to me.
Or any secrets that may be known to me.
So help me God and keep me faithful.
So help me God and keep me faithful.
The usher will prepare the candidate for the next step in the initiation.
Answer the alarm.
Who comes there?
The usher with John Wills, a new candidate.
Noble ruler, the usher is at the door with the candidate John Wills, who desires further knowledge of the mysteries of our order.
Let him enter and place the candidate before me. As a proposed member of Alpha Gamma Rho, you have come to learn of Demeter, who, as the Greek goddess of agriculture and Petronius of the soil, was considered the mother of all things agriculture. You, as a scientific pursuer of agriculture in all of its broad aspects, should be intimately familiar with her symbols and their relationships to hard work and education, to reap and reward of wealth and plenty in the land. As the ancient Greeks looked to her guidance, so shall her principles help be successful throughout life. As an emblem signifying your willingness to follow the principles, Demeter's teachings, you have for guidance the sheaf, sickle, and the crescent, symbols of which you were to wear nearest to your heart as a sign of all men that are faithful to the values they represent. The sheaf signifies the harvest that has been provided for you, showing her kindness to you and her reward if you only follow her ancient principles. But you cannot reap your harvest without an effort, so she extends you the sickle and binds you to earn the reward and prove that you are deserving of her kindness and helpfulness. Lastly, as proof that she was an ever-watching goddess and does not extend to you these things without knowing you to be deserving of them, she has placed before your guidance the crescent. Her living eye, symbolic of her knowledge and watchfulness over you, although her thoughts, words, and actions are hidden from the eyes of man, an all-seeing eye which governs the sun, moon, and stars, invades the innermost recesses of your heart, and you are judged accordingly to your worth. Mr. Wills, you are now ready to take the oath of a member of Alpha Gamma Rho. You will raise your left hand and place your right hand over your heart and repeat after the chaplain, pronouncing your name in full.
I state your name.
John Wills,
Of my own free will and accord,
of my own free accord, form and accord,
in the presence of Almighty God and these witnesses,
in the presence of Almighty God and these witnesses,
do hereby and hereon solemnly swear
do hereby solemnly swear
that I will always honor,
that I will always honor,
revere, and respect Alpha Gamma Rho,
revere, and respect Alpha Gamma Rho,
its principles and teachings,
its principles and teachings,
that I will familiarize myself with the work and objects of the order,
that I will familiarize myself with the objects and words of the
that I
order,
that I will obey all commands received by me
that I will faithfully obey all commands received by me
by those in authority,
by those in authority,
that I will assist any brother in need
that I will assist any brother in need
insofar as possible,
insofar as possible,
and that I will not assist in the initiation of anyone
and I will not assist in initiation of anyone
who by the provisions of the Constitution
by the provisions of the Constitution
is not eligible or worthy to the membership in this fraternity.
that is not eligible or worthy for membership in this fraternity.
All things I solemnly promise,
All things I solemnly promise.
so help me God and keep me
So help me-
steadfast throughout life.
So help me God throughout life.
Now as a last rite, signifying your membership in our order and your acknowledgement of the values that Demeter has set forth, I place upon you your heart of symbols, the sheaf, the sickle, and the crescent, the emblem of Alpha Gamma Rho. As you wear it over your heart, you may ever be mindful of the obligation to be worthy brother in the bonds of Alpha Gamma Rho. And now, brothers, I take pleasure in presenting to you Brother Wills.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. And we are officially over. Rick's still muted out there.
Yeah. This is definitely a long distance initiation.
Yes, yes, it's probably the first.
Probably the first.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well,
I hope we-
congrats, John.
Pardon?
Congratulations.
Well, thank you. And thank you for your support.
Wonderful, wonderful.
You guys know where Abu Dhabi is?
And I think it's in India.
No, no. It's in the United Arab Emirates, right next door to Saudi Arabia.
Why don't maybe tell us a little bit about yourself, John? I know you gave me the bio for the newsletter, but
Okay. I started out at SIU in the fall of 1960. Okay, in the School of Agriculture in the Department of Animal Science. Worked at the Swine Research Center to help work my way through the first year. I learned real quickly that weighing pigs is definitely a very difficult task and a dirty task when you're doing research. So therefore, this next year I switched to poultry because it's a lot easier to pick up a baby chicken than it is to pick up a 200-pound pig. So got my undergraduate degree and then went to work in private industry, came back a year later and started working my master's under Scott Henners in poultry nutrition. Got my nutrition degree from SIU, my master's under the guidance of Scott Henners in 1970. Then started to work on my PhD at the University of Missouri under Jim Savage. Completed that degree in biochemistry and poultry nutrition, then accepted the job in industry. I've worked many different industry companies. I've worked for 2 feed companies. It used to be Master Mix or Central Soya, Super Sweet Feeds. I've worked for the largest turkey producer in the world, Genio Foods, as a nutritionist in Minnesota. Worked at Zaki Farms in turkeys and broilers, and then had the opportunity to manage a 1 million bird operation in Mississippi as a complex manager. Now, going from technical service to line management is definitely a very rude awakening, and it is a, shall we say, a very challenging job. Then after that, I've worked for 2 premix companies, NutriBasics in Wilmer, Minnesota, and then moved to accept a position at the Key Poultry Farms in 2001 in Saudi Arabia. I was in Saudi Arabia when 9/11 occurred. I can tell you stories that you will never read in the press. So it was, shall we say, a trying time. Spent 3 years there, then moved to Abu Dhabi, which was just a country next door, and worked there in the premix division to help start their premix organization. Then took over poultry nutritional work in 2000. I went to Abu Dhabi in 2004, stayed there till 2010. I felt it was time my wife and I got out of this part of the world, so we retired and bought property in Costa Rica, where we still have property now. Started a orange plantation and a coffee farm. Got bored after 5 years, came back to Abu Dhabi and worked for the competition and been with this national feed since 2006. And so, yeah, it's been quite a life. So I've been many different places throughout the Middle East. I've been throughout all the Middle East, not Middle East, the Gulf state countries, Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Oman, the whole group over here. Abu Dhabi is about the safest place to live in the world. You can go out downtown at night. Let's say you leave your billfold in a taxi cab. They'll call you up and say, Dr. John, we found your billfold and the money's all there. So that's one of the reasons we live here. And cost of living in Abu Dhabi is very expensive. So if you take a job in this part of the world, you must demand at least 3 times the salary you normally make in the United States. The pay is good. I'm provided an automobile, a living allowance, and a salary. The summers get hot, 45, 48. That's about 120 degrees Fahrenheit with high humidity. Air conditions 24/7. We'll have a hot season from May through November, and from November through March, it'll be a cooler time of the year, which means it'll get around 80 degrees instead of 110. So we have 2 distinct seasons. So you gentlemen, we have ample space where we live. You're welcome to come and visit us in Abu Dhabi at any time.
Let's have summer meeting. Yeah, we'll have summer meeting next year.
It's a 15-hour flight.
Yeah.
But
Okay. Wow.
A 15-hour flight. But a lot of people hear about Dubai and not Abu Dhabi. Abu Dhabi is the capital of the United Arab Emirates. An emirate is like a state. There's 7 emirates. And these folks joined together about 50 years ago. The country is very young. It's one of the richest oil, gas countries in the world. And you say, well, why did I come here? 2 reasons. I like what I'm doing and the money's good.
Excellent.
So that's in a brief nutshell, that's what I've been doing throughout the life. If it were not for Scott Henners and SIU, I would not be doing what I'm doing today. So I owe them very much. A bit about myself and LEAC, Little Leach Bag Co-op. We started that with about 20 individuals. And the reason we started that is that at that time, the administration of SIU did not allow any more Greek fraternities to be started. So with the help of Dr. Howard Miller, we decided to form a cooperative and went that route, and then eventually it did become AGR. Also, we had another faculty member who wanted us to be farmhouse, and we said, no, we don't want to be farmhouse. We want to become an AGR chapter. So that's the play between the two. That's some of the history on that. Some of the fond memories that I have, we had a cook who cooked the meal in the evening. During the breakfast meal, we took turns cooking. Well, Joel Finley was cooking breakfast one morning, and all of a sudden black smoke started rolling out of the kitchen. Well, what Joe, he was cooking sausage. But I said, Joe, didn't you turn the sausage over? He says, no, I thought I didn't have to turn it over. He cooked from the bottom and through the top. I said, no, Joe, you got it. What Joe had done, he didn't turn the sausage over, so we had sausage briquettes instead of fresh sausage. So those are some of the funny stories we had at living at LEAC.
Wow. Wow. Well, that's excellent. I have a little joke for you, John. What's the difference between Dubai and Abu Dhabi?
Dubai and Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
Oh, the between Abu Dhabi and Dubai. Think of Dubai as New York City and Abu Dhabi as Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Well, there's another difference. The
All
people of Dubai don't watch the Flintstones, but the people of Abu Dhabi do.
Well, another funny story. Do you know how an Emirati fills up his Mercedes?
No.
He goes and buys another one.
Yeah.
But they're good people over here. When they started out, they did not have anything. And with the help of the British, oil was discovered, and then Sheikh Zayed is to the UAE as George Washington was to the United States. Without his guidance, the country wouldn't be where it is today. So they have started literally from nothing to two major cities, Dubai and Abu Dhabi. Once you get out of these cities in the country, it's desert, pure and simple. And Jamie, my wife and I, we live in a bubble. We don't live in the real world because of the way what oil and gas has done to create this artificial bubble. The locals, or the people who live in the UAE, had the highest water consumption per capita of any population in the world. Now, and that water comes from the ocean. It's not well water. And it's mind-boggling the amount of water waste that is done here for fountains, for irrigation, for having dairy cows, for poultry. And give you an idea, the 4 large dairies in the UAE, the smallest one has 4,000 cows. The largest one has about 8,000 cows. They're small.
Wow.
The next door neighbor, Saudi Arabia, El Moraya, they've got about 25,000 cows. El Safi, which has the largest concentration of dairy cows on one farm, 5,000 cows, one farm. So keep in mind, all the feedstuffs, all the supplies has to be shipped in. Nothing's grown here except dates, the corn, the soy, all the other materials for any livestock production has to be shipped in. Our feed costs about 3 times the cost of what it is in the United States. But everything is shipped in, everything. We get soy from USA, from Argentina, from Brazil or Paraguay, also corn from those respective countries. So it comes on a big boat, and you do not want to run out.
Yeah.
It is a challenge.
Hey, John, would you take a couple of questions from anybody in the group? They have one or two?
Please go for it. Go, open it up.
Or let me, hey, Jake, can you switch the video so that John can see us here, our camera?
I can see the whole group here now.
Oh, you can? Okay.
Yes, you're on video. Go ahead.
Okay.
Where are you originally from, John?
I'm originally from Charleston, Illinois. Grew up on a farm in Charleston, Illinois, and went to school at SIU. So I'm a farm boy.
I didn't know if he was related to Dr. Wells or not. Walter.
No, I got my doctorate at Missouri. I had two choices. I could go to Minnesota or I could go to Missouri. The reason I went to Missouri, there's not so much snow in Missouri as what there is in Minneapolis, St. Paul.
What Jim was referring to is, did you know Dr. Wills?
Yes,
Yes,
I mean, Dr. Wills, the economist, yeah. I know.
You have a lot of similar features.
Yeah, I know.
Is there any university connection there? Is there any presence of university there?
All right, do you have, let me think here. There's many universities. The only agriculture university is, I have to think here a minute. The UA University in Elaine. They have a arid agriculture department where they look at irrigation. There is some poultry there, very limited. A lot of dairy cows, but there is an agriculture university. Each emirate has its own university system. And this is just a guess, there's at least 50 different universities or colleges throughout the UAE. Any other questions?
I got a question. This is not national.
Yeah.
Might want to step up.
You said they took water from the sea. Could they do that here in the United States, or is it too expensive, or what?
I can't
You said you get the
repeat.
water-
Sure, he's stepping up.
You said you got your water from the ocean, from the sea. Could they do that here in the United States?
I'm
So they
sorry,
get all-
repeat.
You said they get all their water from the sea.
Yeah,
Could they do that in the
Yes.
United States, or is it real expensive, or why?
Is that real expensive to do? Can they do that here?
to do it here, as I said, the Emirate of Abu Dhabi is one of the richest oil gas countries in the world. So when we make water here, we ignore expense. We ignore expense.
Okay, I know Santa Barbara in California. they get real water.
Yeah.
That's-
What's taking place now, though, is when I say the Emirati government is diversifying, and now they're building solar farms. And you go out in the desert where they build, of course, you have lots of sunlight, and those things are hectares, 200 to 300 hectares large in size and scope. It is mind-boggling. Also, they started a nuclear reactor in the western part of the country. That's online for electricity. All goods are hauled by truck. Now what they're doing, they're actually starting building a railroad to take a lot of the trucks off the highways. The highways are 6 lanes, one way, 6 lanes in, 6 lanes out. The highways are excellent, the major highways. You get out in the desert, I've been lost in the sand. I've run out of gas in the sand. When you go in the desert, you always take plenty of water with you and always make sure you have at least a half a tank of petrol. Otherwise, because you're gonna get lost, you're gonna get caught in a sandstorm or something. That just goes with the job. Been lost many times out there. But it's a challenge. You'll have camel in the country, out in the desert. You'll be driving along, be very careful because you'll have camels. Camels run wild and they have the right of way. And one thing you do not want to do is hit a camel. You're better off hitting a deer than hitting a camel.
So John, what dairy breeds are they growing over there and using on their farms? And then how do they acclimate them to the temperature?
Or what they'll do, they'll bring in embryos and do embryo implant is how they'll get new stock into the herds. At one time, they were bringing actual live animals in, but then it got expensive and they wanted to cut down on the disease transfer. So right now it's embryo transplant.
How do they acclimate those herds to that, those large herds to that weather?
On the dairy herds, we have a high humidity situation where the cows are located, but they do tunnel ventilation, a lot of misting, and the cows do acclimate. They will actually acclimate. and you feed at night. You don't feed during the day. You milk at night. You milk at night.
Hey, John, you think there's any chance we could get an influence over there with SIU?
Good possibility. I've got some friends at the university. And this one young lady, I'm on her master's committee. So let's see.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Okay.
I know that SIU is very involved in foreign exchange students and working with various aspects overseas. But hey, if you don't ask, you don't know. Let's explore it. Let's explore it. Matter of fact, I know, name dropping, the associate dean of the College of Agriculture, he and I are close friends. So let's see what can happen.
Okay.
Let's see what can happen. Now, you all got my email address, so we can communicate that way. Is that?
Yep, that'll work.
Yep.
I'll publish it in the next newsletter, along with your bio and pictures, so everybody can
Okay.
see.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations, John.
Yeah,
Okay, nice talking to you guys. Thank you. Take care. Thank you.
thanks, Jake, and all you guys online. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll talk to you soon then, John.
All right, take care.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.